The Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, were adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015 to end poverty, reduce inequality, and build more peaceful, prosperous societies by 2030. Many of the global challenges to development are especially salient for the children and youth. It is their future that depends on how well these SDGs are adopted. Where do our children or the youth stand today?
There are still a lot of kids
that can't go to school
because their families
can't afford their education.
Other kids have to walk a long distance
and even cross rivers and climb mountains just to go to school.
A lot of kids cannot go to school because the parents don't have money.
People are using up the world's resources
without thinking of the consequences,
like global warming. We have a lot of natural disasters
like super typhoons and forest fires
that destroy the livelihood and homes of many people.
People's waste are reaching the oceans,
killing turtles, fishes, and other marine life.
The number of animals are getting smaller and the food supply is getting smaller.
Why do you think their numbers are getting smaller?
Because they're getting endangered. The people have been cutting the trees in their habitat.
A lot of people are getting sick,
especially because of COVID-19. Everyone is affected.
Yung ibang people hindi makapunta sa hospital pag sick sila.
What is the ideal future for our children?
Sana lahat ng bata ay mabigyan ng pagkakataong makapag-aral.
I dream of a future where no kid gets left behind.
I hope people can start doing their part in saving the earth
by doing simple acts
like recycling or bringing our own water bottles
for our beverages.
Our family has learned not to use plastic bags, and I just hope others learn how to do that too.
Sana walang bagyo na makakasira
ng mga pinaghirapan
ng aming magulang.
I wish for a greener environment. Less pollution.
I hope governments and people work together
so we can fight any virus
or any sickness
that comes our way.
I hope that everybody has an access to medicine and proper nutrition.
Sana may pagkain mga pamilya para wala nang maglimos. All of the kids have to stay healthy. We dream of a future where every child thrives.
Every child lives in a clean environment.
And every child has a fair chance in life.
Now more than ever, we must work together
to make the world a better place,
to ensure healthy lives, improve access to education,
to combat climate crisis.
Aligned with the ATRAM's mission to engage, inspire, and collaborate
to build a financially secure future,
we are committed to building that future where no one is left behind.
We have adopted 3 out of the 17 SDGs,
aiming to make a positive impact,
as well as ingraining more responsible
and sustainable business practices within ATRAM.
At ATRAM, we value our children's dreams. Let's make it happen for them. Through the ATRAM Sustainable Development and Growth Fund, we'll invest in companies that embrace sustainability and believe that this is key to a better Philippines and a better future for us and our children.
If we be nice to our planet Earth will be nice to us.
Invest to thrive. Invest together.
Hello and good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to an all-new ATRAM webinar series, where we feature real stories from real investors that will definitely inspire you to take control of your finances and potentially build towards a better future for you and your family through investing. I'm Kevin Soto, digital analyst and your host for today. We're also glad to have with us today Seedbox's head of marketing, Bryce Jalcita, who will share his industry knowledge and help us out in answering questions from our audience. Tune into this exciting webinar and find out why you should jumpstart your investment journey now. Before anything else, I'd like to let you know that this session will be recorded and that copies will be disseminated within the day, as well as posted on all our social media platforms. Also, please don't forget to visit our website, www.atram.com.ph, to find out more about all the funds that we offer. If you have any friends who you think would like this webinar but are unable to attend, feel free to share the YouTube replay of this session. Visit our YouTube channel, ATRAM Studios. Also, we would like to invite you to join ATRAM's new official Viber community group that's hashtag ATRAMPH Community to stay updated on the latest announcements, advisories, and reminders. Scan the QR code or visit the link bit.do/ATRAMPH and get a chance to win ATRAM merchandise. We would like this webinar to be as interactive as possible, so please don't hesitate to send your questions in the Q&A tab all throughout the webinar, as we have a special surprise for all of you. Each question you send is a raffle entry for a chance to win ATRAM merchandise. Winners will be announced at the end of the webinar, so make sure to stay until the end. Lastly, we will also be sending a quick feedback survey after the webinar. So we do hope you can share your thoughts with us about our session today and how we can improve on our webinar series. So without further ado, let's begin.
To start off, let's meet our first guest speaker, Rose Concepcion. Hi, Rose. How are you doing today?
Hi, Kevin. I'm good.
Rose, just to break the ice, especially to our audience who don't know you, could you give us a little background? First, I'd like to know how long have you been investing, and number two, how long have you been investing with ATRAM?
Okay. Well, I've been investing for, I guess, more than 5 years. I started investing straight out of college when I got my first job.
All right, that's great. So you've been investing since you were 21, 20?
Yeah, 22, 23, something like that.
It's a long
I don't
time.
remember the exact year. But yes, for sure, when I got my first paycheck, I already knew that I needed to invest some of it. So as soon as I started earning, I started investing as well. Although I wasn't that great at it at first, admittedly. And then with ATRAM, I just started investing last year with ATRAM.
All right. Well, that's interesting. Your first paycheck, you already started investing. What led you to this kind of idea? Like, that's so young. Like when I was 21, I wasn't even saving anything. So how did you get into investing? Is it your parents, or have you always been in a family where investment is a must?
Actually, I don't come from a family of bankers or investors, but my Lola was very good at saving. She was a doctor, but she was really, really good at saving and investing. Like during her time, investing wasn't as common, right? And it wasn't as accessible, but she already had investments in T-bills and real estate. So she always told us the importance of setting aside as much as we can. Like she was super thrifty. And then she was actually the one who opened me my first bank account in, am I supposed, can I say the bank?
No need.
Okay, yeah, okay. So she let me open my first bank account. And I remember she told me, and actually all her grandchildren, that we just keep putting money in there, and one day she'll decide to double the money. So that was that's basically investment, right? Just keep it, hold it, and one day it's really going to grow. So the ideas were inculcated in us early on.
Right. So you started about 8 years ago, no? But you only started with ATRAM around 2 years ago, you said. So what made you go into ATRAM? Where did you hear about ATRAM, and how did you decide to actually invest with ATRAM?
I heard about ATRAM through Seedbox. I was looking for a way to open an investment account without me having to go out of the house, since this was last year, right? Pandemic and all. And I found Seedbox through Google, as in I Googled how to invest without going out of the house. And I found Seedbox, which is a fully digital investment platform. That's also where I saw the funds of ATRAM.
That's interesting. You found it through Google. How did you get to trust actually something that you just basically found online? Because usually people just don't really get into these stuff as quickly as you did. Did you do a lot of research? Did you ask your friends or what?
Right. Well, I used to work in banking, so I know also where to research on whether the company is legitimate, whether they're accredited, whether they're listed under BSP. And I saw that ATRAM, though relatively young compared to other big names in the banking and finance industry, is definitely legitimate and has been performing pretty well.
Right. Well, that's good to know. That's good to know you've been having a good experience with ATRAM. So, okay,
yeah.
now that you said that, tell us a little bit more about your investment journey with ATRAM and what motivated you to keep investing with ATRAM.
Well, what really impressed me about ATRAM was how it was so easy to sign up and invest with ATRAM and Seedbox, because everything, including KYC, was done online. And me coming from the banking industry, I know that it can be so tedious on the part of the customer and the part of the bankers.
Same here. It's all paper. It's all
forms,
paper, right?
Form after form.
Hundreds of forms.
Right. I think that ATRAM's huge advantage over other trust entities is it really makes it easy to invest. So far, everything has gone very smoothly for me. And I started investing with ATRAM last year. So I have no regrets so far. And it's so easy to monitor my paper gains or losses via Seedbox.
I'm curious. You mentioned that you have no regrets so far. So tell us, what funds are you invested in, and how did you realize that you need to invest in these funds? Right.
That's a great question. So currently, I'm invested in the Global Technology Feeder Fund. I also invested in the Consumer Trends Feeder Fund. I chose these because they offer a very convenient way to invest in US stocks. I wanted geographic diversification since I already have investments in local markets. The funds are managed by leading investment houses in the US, and I'm so happy to be able to invest in those funds without having to deal with any tedious forms or bank trips. Aside from those funds, I'm actually eyeing with great interest, and I'd recommend the Philippine Sustainable Development and Growth Fund.
And why would you recommend this fund?
Yes, well, this one is locally based, and it targets companies that are preparing for the future. So I would bank on these companies thriving down the line, especially since Generation Z and Gen Alpha are more socially aware and concerned about sustainability. So through investing in such funds, we can place our faith in companies not just because they are valuable per se, but also because they align with our values. That's so exciting because it gives a whole new meaning to value investing.
That's correct. That's correct. Investing for the future, basically. Right. So, okay. As you know, Rose, a lot of people in the audience are just new to investing, and looking at you, you've been investing since you got out of college about 8 years ago. We want to know, if there is one investment advice that you could give to starters, to those who are just starting to invest. What's the best investment advice that you've probably heard or you learned along the way?
I think there's something that people tend to forget. And, when people think, oh, I need to invest or I need to put aside money, they forget the first step, which is to identify your why. So determine your financial goals. Why do you want to put aside money in the first place? What are you saving for? Is it a house, a business, retirement, or even just a vacation, right? So from there, you can determine how much you need to commit to setting aside. And then you can work toward those goals by being consistent about saving and investing. So it's so much easier when you know your big why or whys. It's easier to stay motivated to grow your money. And being under quarantine for so long actually gave me a lot of free time at home. So I decided to start the money school on YouTube. That's my personal advocacy because I really want to help spread financial awareness. It's also why I agreed to join this ATRAM webinar. So there on YouTube, I just make videos where I give out more detailed advice for people who are interested to learn more about money management.
Right. Since this segment is about investor stories, and you mentioned to the audience that you have to know what your why is. Let me ask you, Rose, why are you investing? What is your ultimate goal?
Well, my ultimate goal, I think it's actually everyone's ultimate goal if they really think. It's financial freedom. For me, I want to be able to not worry about where I'm going to get the money later on in case I am not able to earn, right? So, because for now, I can take whatever side jobs I have, even if I am taking care of my son, I can take whatever freelance work. I have lots of skills, I have lots of energy, but eventually, hopefully later rather than sooner, it's not going to be like that. And I don't want to be a burden to anyone, especially my son. He's only one. Kawawa naman siya, right? Like, I don't want to have to depend on him later on. I also want to be able to retire early so we can go on, Euro trips. Me and my husband, I don't know.
All right. I think I'm good. Thank you, Rose. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the time you took to share your story with ATRAM and to all our audience.
Thank you, Kevin.
Next up is Mark Darrell Diasanta. How are you doing today?
Hello, Kevin. So, yun sir, okay naman. Okay naman ako today. Thankful for na healthy given the pandemic. No?
All right, Mark. Mark, we have a lot of, for the benefit of our listeners, no? Let's break the ice lang. Mark, I have two questions for you when you introduce yourself. First question, how long have you been investing? Na ba? When did you start? And then second question would be, how long have you been investing with ATRAM?
So, for me, yung investing journey ko talaga nag-start yan sa stock market eh. So, first job, parang after my first job, 2015, nag-inquire ako sa PSEI, dun sa stock market, sa may Ortigas. Then, nag-apply ako sa broker. Then, nag-trade na ako. Then, from there, nagtuloy-tuloy. 5 years na ako nagtitrade. Then, palaki ng palaki yung naging investment journey ko up to dumating sa point na nag-expand ako, nag-check ako ng different investment vehicles pa. Then I found ATRAM through through GCash muna. Through GCash 3 years ago. Parang ngayon kasi sa GCash may may mga iba't ibang products na. Pero previously yung G-Invest sa GCash, money market pa lang yan. So from there, nag-start ako mag-invest. Doon ko nakita talaga si ATRAM. Then from there, nag-research ako sino ba to si ATRAM. Nakita ko si Seedbox na naka-link.
All right. Ayun, so you mentioned na ever since fresh out of college, you tried the broker environment, bro. So if you were a broker already, why did you decide to actually invest pa in ATRAM? What made you get into it pa?
Sorry sir, hindi ako broker ha. I'm trader, yes. Okay. Pero again, yung goal ko is kasi sa trading, di ba? Active investing. So ako yung nagre-research, ako yung every sobrang time consuming. So gusto ko meron akong separate investment na, di ba, through mutual funds na first lang aaralin mo kung anong fund yung pag-iinvestan mo. Then may mga fund managers na mag-hold accountable for that fund. So ang ginawa ko, meron akong active investing and may passive investing para yun nga yung never put all your eggs in one basket, di ba? Parang ganun. Para diverse yung portfolio ko.
Right. So sige, could you tell us more about yung investment journey mo naman with ATRAM? Ano ba yung mga funds that you're invested in? Tsaka, sige, tell us a little bit more on that.
Okay, so yung sa ATRAM kasi 'di ba, nag-check ako, tulad ng sabi ko, nauna ako mag-invest through GCash money market. So aware naman ako to different kinds of assets. So money market for me is safe haven lang. Low risk, low return. So nung nag-expand na ako ng investment portfolio, nag-research ako to ATRAM, nakita ko yung mga funds niya, then from there nag-set ako ng goal. Ano-anong mga goals yung gusto kong marating kung ba't ako mag-invest for this passive investment or mutual funds or UITF. So from there,
mga goals na to?
Yung first goal, nag-set kami ng girlfriend ko kasi gusto namin bumili ng kotse.
Wow.
So, bumili kami. Gusto namin bumili ng kotse. So sabi ko, instead of saving sa bank, since medyo naman yung timeline natin, hindi lang naman yung 6 months, pwede nating invest. So, nag-set ako ng different goals. Meron akong investment sa ATRAM sa kotse, tsaka meron din ako for long-term goals. So, that's my retirement fund. Kasi di ba yung sa trading, ano yan eh, growth. Tapos meron ako sinet for retirement, tapos meron akong short-term goal for my car, for our car. And from there, kami ng girlfriend ko, every cut-off, nagde-deposit kami. Okay, nakapangalan sa akin, pero dine-deposit niya sa akin, then tina-transfer ko to our account sa ATRAM. Then, yun, yung both our funds, may investment for, kasi per product, nag-set ako ito for car to, ito for my retirement. So, every cut-off, i-investan ko yun. So, after setting the goals, continuously ini-invest ko siya. Then, from there, kasi i-reviewin mo yung mga risks niyan eh. So, may mga sinet kang timeline. So, for our setup, kasi kotse, medyo short term lang, nag-invest ako through bonds muna. Yung peso bond fund ni ATRAM. Tapos for my retirement fund, nag-invest ako to global market.
So, nasan ka na sa, matanong ko lang, Mark, nasan ka na sa goal mo? Na-reach mo na ba yung short-term goal mo? I think our viewers would want to know about that.
Yes. Yung actually napaagay yung pag-liquidate namin kasi this pandemic medyo mahirap yung transpo. So kailangan namin i-liquidate agad kasi gusto na namin mas mag-materialize na yung goal. So nag-liquidate na ako nung fund namin for car na nakabili na kami ng kotse namin na nagagamit na namin. Fully withdraw, na-serve niya yung purpose niya.
Galing, I want you to answer this then, Mark. Siyempre, we have a lot of madami tayong viewers na gusto pala mag-invest and interested lang mag-invest. So, I'm sure medyo hindi naman lahat na nag-i-invest makakuha ng kotse kagaya mo. How were you able to do it? Ano yung naging strategy mo and how did you get there? And what can you tell our viewers para maabot din nila yung naabot mo?
Okay, so specific for our car, nag-set kami ng kung magkano yung target goal namin. Tapos kailan namin planong i-liquidate. Kasi kung hindi mo alam yung goal mo before ka mag-invest, tendency niyan, mag-invest ka today, next month hindi na. Or after 6 months, hindi mo pa na-hit yung goal mo, i-withdraw mo na. Kasi wala kang sinet na timeline, wala kang sinet na end goal. So after nun, kung alam mo na yung goal mo, hindi mo yan i-withdrawin hanggat hindi mo nare-reach yun. Then, tuloy-tuloy ka mag-i-invest hanggat hindi mo nare-reach yun. Yun yung tingin ko pinaka-importante.
So I'm curious, Mark, kung mag-invest ba ako ng 50 or 100 pesos today, maabot ko ba yung naabot mo? Ganun ba kasimple yan?
For me, for investing na ganyan, possible pero ang tagal, di ba? Isipin mo kung 50 pesos ka every month before ka maka hundreds of thousands, di ba? Check mo yung timeline mo kasi if you want na bigger goals, dapat kailangan mo mag-exert ng bigger effort or bigger inputs. So sa ATRAM makikita naman yan, meron niyang projections eh, 'di ba? Every month ka mag-i-invest, meron niyang mga projections. So malaking tulong 'yon na pinapakita niya na sa'yo kung gaano katagal mo may hit yung goal mo, magkano ba dapat yung ini-invest mo every month. Right. So dapat yun alam siya before ka mag-start.
Galing, no? Very inspiring, very inspiring. So I assume after mo ma-reach yung goal na yun, you're starting your goal and retiring early na, no?
Yes,
with that, ano naman para sa'yo? I'm sure our audience would want to hear this, especially for someone who's been successful in investing like you. Ano naman yung best advice na mabibigay mo sa mga viewers natin? Maybe you've heard from someone or you just learned yourself, right?
So ito, natutunan ko sa one of the books, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. So sa money management, sa investing, dapat may sinet kang allocation for ng income mo sa investing. So for me, ginagawa ko, nasa 30% na ako eh. Pero you can start 10%, then palakihin mo ng palakihin. Ang importante doon yung consistency. Dapat every cut-off, every dating ng income, may portion ka doon na nilalagay for the investing, lalo for long-term goals, like me, retiring early. So allocate portion of your income to investing.
Sige, Mark. I think ito yung hinihintay ng mga tao. Pakita naman yung picture mo with your new car. Diba? To inspire our viewers. Wow. Oh, kita. Wow.
Ayan, sa Mitsubishi. Sa Lancer. So, kumuha ako ng kotse.
Ang galing. I'm sure our viewers are very much inspired with your story, and hopefully all the other people out there will start investing and be as successful as you know, Mark. So, thank you, Mark. Thank you for your time, and
thank you rin. Thank you to
thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you, Kevin.
Next on our list is JC Pabulos. Hello, JC. Kamusta ka naman?
Mabuti naman.
So first, I want to know, gaano ka nakatagal nag-i-invest? And second, gaano ka ba katagal nag-i-invest sa ATRAM?
Nag-i-invest ako mga more than 4 years na. Tapos sa ATRAM, siguro mga 2 years. Kasi, matagal na rin. So ayun, parang 2 years natutunan ko kasi yung first investment ko sa ATRAM, yung sa GCash Invest Money. Out of curiosity lang kasi nakita ko may invest money. Sige na try ko nga to. Medyo na-curious ako. So, ayun, doon na nagsimula yung investment journey ko.
Kamusta naman yung investment journey mo with ATRAM, and ano yung nagmo-motivate sa'yo to keep investing?
Kasi ngayon actually, dati kasi medyo conservative type of investor ako, di ba? Kaya talagang natuwa rin ako dun sa GCash Invest Money. Sinagutan ko muna yung risk profile questionnaire dun. Pagkatapos nakita ko na patok na patok pala sa akin kasi moderately conservative yung risk ko. Kasi sigurista talaga ako. Gusto ko talaga yung returns talagang sigurado ma-preserve yung capital ko. Yun yung sinagutan ko. Pero nung yung investment journey ko ngayon, medyo malaki yung itinaas kasi dati, di ba, moderately conservative ako. Ngayon, medyo nagbago na yung aking risk profile to slightly aggressive. Kasi sa panonood ko ng mga YouTube videos at saka sa pag-aaral about finances, ganyan, sa investing, talagang nakita ko na mas maganda pala yung opportunity pagka magte-take ka ng kaunting risk, di ba? Actually, nag-research ako sa investment. Sa Facebook kasi, di ba, madaming lumalabas na ads. Nakita ko, yung sa seedbox, laging lumalabas sa Facebook ads. Sabi ko, ano kaya ito? Parang ako naman kasi, parang medyo kinakabahan ako sa mga ganun kasi baka mamaya scam to. Kasi sabi ko nababalitaan na scam. Kasi syempre, yun ang natutunan ko nung nag-aaral ako ng YouTube videos, nagbabasa-basa ako about investing. You need to practice due diligence first.
Syempre.
Putting your heart and mind. Syempre, kailangan, pera mo yun di ba? So, pagkatapos nun, tinignan ko yung seedbox dun sa website, tinrowse ko. After nun, sabi ko, mukhang okay to parang magandang, ang daming funds tapos chinek ko naman na ang gaganda ng mga return rates year to date, year over year. So parang nag-caught talaga ng attention sa akin, sabi ko. Saktong-sakto nung di pa pandemic last year. Tapos sabi ng mga experts at mga financial planners, sabi, it's the best time to invest kasi down ng market. So ako, kasi dati yung lifestyle ko, kwento ko na dito. Yung lifestyle ko kasi dati YOLO. Ibig sabihin, YOLO lifestyle ako Parang gusto ko lagi nakasabay. You only live once. Di ba may kasabihan tayong ganun? Tapos, ang nangyayari, parang lagi ako sumasabay sa mga kaibigan ko. Tapos dati kasi before investing, talagang wala natitira talaga sa aking sa sahod ko. Last year, parang naisip ko na parang paulit-ulit na lang yung cycle ng buhay, di ba? Although nag-i-invest na ako matagal na, kaya lang conservative sa mga time deposit, sa bank savings. Kaya lang, naisip ko, nakakapagod yung ganitong cycle na buhay. Sabi nga ni Mr. Robert Curry sa akin ng Rich Dad Poor Dad, siya yung author nun. Para ka nasa rat race, kumbaga, kikita ka ng malaki, kahit gano'ng kalaki kita mo, di ba, magtatrabaho ka ng magtatrabaho, tapos pambayad mo ng bills, tapos pag may nakita kang bagong gadget, bibili ka, tapos hanggang sa wala ka na maipon, uutang ka para lang makasabay ka dun sa mga kaibigan mo, sa mga kamag-anak mo, to impress other people. Sabi ko, this lifestyle, this cycle needs to stop. Kaya grateful ako kasi talagang natutunan ko yun. Tapos after nun, then yun nga, parang pinag-aralan ko na yung investing sa seedbox. Nakita ko talaga na, sabi ko, wow, pwede itong pwede itong platform na to diversify my portfolio.
Ano ba yung ultimate goal natin? Bakit tayo nag-i-invest?
Ang ultimate goal ko kasi, una, syempre gusto mo mag-retire na maaga. Kasi lately lang, natutunan ko yung yung FAR, if alam niyo yung FAR movement. Kasi sa US uso to eh. Yung FAR movement is about financial independence, retire early. Ibig sabihin, kumbaga, ma-achieve mo yung financial independence tsaka financial freedom through investing. Talagang nag-cut ng attention ko na kailangan kong baguhin yung ano ko, yung prinsipyo ko about investing. Tapos, yung purpose ko, why am I investing, is because I also want to help other people, to reach out to other people. Ito yung isa sa pinaka talagang heart ko talaga, yung mission ko talaga na nag-spread ng financial literacy. Nung matutunan ko itong mga investment, nung matutunan ko itong about finances, is about to be a blessing to my future family din.
May tanong ako, nasabi mo, one of your ultimate goals is financial independence, no? So, you're invested in ATRAM now. Gusto ko lang malaman, number one, anong funds ka nag-i-invest? And number two, kamusta ang performance nun? And mukha bang ma-achieve na natin in the next how many years ang financial independence mo?
Actually ngayon, ang investment ko ngayon is nag-open ako ng account sa Global Technology Feeder Fund at saka Global Consumer Trends Feeder Fund. So ngayon nakita ko kasi pinag-aralan ko yung fund performance tsaka yung fund fact sheets, yung year-to-date return niya. Sabi ko, looks promising talaga. Mukhang maganda yung returns nito. Tapos kasi bago ako nag-invest talaga inaaral ko muna kasi syempre pera mo yun eh. Tapos sabi ko, ano kaya kung i-try ko to, kasi tiningnan ko ang ganda, wow. Invested do sa mga top tech companies sa US tapos sa global, di ba? Pero yung mo Apple, Microsoft, tapos Samsung.
Di ba? Shareholder ka na ng Apple,
Google,
Microsoft.
bigatin, di ba? Nitong last year pandemic, di ba? Karamihan ng companies, yung iba nagsara, bumaksak. Pero these tech companies continue to thrive despite dun sa pandemic kasi kailangan natin ng technology ngayon. And these companies will continue to thrive sa mga susunod pang taon. Kasi nga, yung advancement na technology talaga hindi mo mapipigilan yan. So, yun nga, kailangan natin na i-take yung opportunity na kahit habang medyo mababa pa yung presyo, di ba, bumili ka na. Tapos yung isang investment naman na tinry ko is Global Consumer Trends Feeder Funds. Napakaganda rin siya kasi 'di ba ngayong nasa pandemic tayo, 'di ba? Ang mangyayari niyan, parang nagre-rely tayo sa mga pa-deliver tayo sa Lazada, sa Shopee, yung iba sa ibang bansa pa yung consumer trends kasi naka-focus sa mga pangangailangan ng mga tao, yung Amazon, 'di ba? Yung e-commerce ngayon nag-boom talaga ngayong pandemic, 'di ba? Na akalain mo ba yung Amazon dati parang mga ano lang yun eh, parang nagbebenta lang ng mga libro, ng mga ganyan. Tapos ngayon, lahat binibenta nila yun.
Bigla sila, So, JC, ito nga, napakaganda ng sinabi mo, no? Very, very interesting yung mga choices ng portfolio na ini-investan mo. Ano yung ma-advise mo sa, well, I would say either younger generation o yung mga nagsisimula pa lang mag-invest? Ano yung ma-advise mo sa kanila as an aggressive investor now that started from a conservative investor? Ano yung ma-advise mo sila at bakit sila kailangan mag-invest?
Ito yung let's start sa basic. Ano ba yung talaga may ma-advise ko? First thing first, you need to invest in yourself first. Invest in financial intelligence. Kailangan meron ka talagang kaalaman sa investing before starting that. At unang-una, you need to build a solid financial foundation muna bago ka mag-invest. Kasi kung wala kang solid financial foundation, pag-invest ka ng invest, balang araw, baka panghinaan ka ng loob pagka nakita mo yung mga losses mo, di ba? So, ang unang-unang mapapayo ko talaga before investing, you need first to manage your finances properly. Unang-una yun. Tapos, you need to spend less than what you earn and invest the difference. Very common na yan kasi live below your means. Hindi pwede na parang YOLO ka moment ka lagi, parang nag-YOLO ka na lang. So, kailangan i-budget natin yung pera natin. I-allocate na natin income minus savings and investment equals expenses. So, unang-una na yun. And first thing first, meron akong 4 na may bibigay na tip. Yung una, before investing, you need to first to build your emergency funds. Emergency funds muna na worth at least 3 to 6 months worth of monthly expenses. Bakit emergency funds muna? Bakit hindi ka pwede dumiretso sa investing? Ito yung solid financial foundation na gusto kong i-share. Kasi pagka nag-invest ka agad, tapos kailangan mo ng pera, pwedeng medyo loss ka pa dun sa investments mo tapos kinangailangan mo ng pera, mapipilitan ka withdraw yung investment mo kahit medyo lugi ka, di ba? Hindi nabigyan ng time to grow yung investment mo kasi nagkaroon ka lang ng emergency, medical emergency, nagkaroon ng ng house repair, ganun, kailangan mo. Kaya kailangan mo ng emergency
So basically,
fund.
kailangan mo talagang i-budget kung ano yung tama lang para at may iwan ka pa sa pag-invest. So napaganda naman sinabi mo no, JC. Hope you stay safe and keep investing lang. Maraming salamat, JC.
Salamat, thank you.
And of course, last but definitely not the least, let us all welcome Philip De La Cruz. Hi Philip, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? How about you, Kevin?
Great. Yun. So, Philip, just para lang sa audience natin, no? Icebreaker lang before we begin anything. How long have you been investing? Gano'n na ba? Ilang years na ba? Ganyan. And then second, ilang years ka na ba nag-invest sa ATRAM? Right?
Okay. Yep. So I think for everyone, so I'm Philip. I'm a CPA. I'm a senior finance manager at a multinational company. On my investing journey, basically, I think I've been investing for almost a decade. Right out of college. I think this is one of the nice lessons I learned very early in my life. And investing came as part of mutual funds, also maybe sometimes direct stocks in the stock market. So I started with that. And maybe with ATRAM, I really got to know ATRAM via the GCash option, maybe around 3 years ago when I invested in your money market funds at the time. So I think maybe with ATRAM, maybe 2-3 years ago, and now I'm learning a lot more because of the new features that you have.
Right. So you learned about ATRAM through GCash pala.
Yes.
No? So how did you end up, a lot of people are telling me before they actually invest with a certain company, they really do a lot of research, nagtatanong-tanong sila. So how did you start really getting into ATRAM? What made you start getting into ATRAM?
Yeah. I think what I like is when I learned, so I saw ATRAM's name even before GCash, but I didn't really know a lot about the company. I think what I did learn though after I knew you guys in GCash was I like the way that the offerings were very varied. So you have a lot of feeder funds that at that time weren't really available to the general market. So I had a lot of my investments in the Philippine market. And actually what really excited me was the global opportunities that you guys have. So then it started from there. I tried to learn and read through everything. And that's maybe how I started with ATRAM.
Right. So good. Now that you mentioned that, gusto sa I want you to take us through your journey, investment journey with ATRAM. Ano bang funds ka nagsimula? Anong were you aggressive na from the start when you started with ATRAM, or did you start as a moderate investor? And tell us about your investment journey and what funds are you currently invested in?
Okay. Yeah. So I started very conservative. And I think this is just me. That's my conservative style. So if I don't really know the company yet, I try to put in investments on conservative assets. So I really started with the money market funds, which is quite very uncharacteristic of me. Typically, I would go for equities. But then when I understood yung process and how you actually manage it, the strategy behind it, I have now gone into more of the equities. Right now, I'm invested in the global consumer trends feeder fund. This is actually for me a top up to my existing investments. So I really found that the goal of that fund was more or less in line with what I wanted to see. Na there's a fund that actually manages itong mga new opportunities na parating pa lang. Because I think it's very hard. Typically, you would have investments in indices, and typically nawawala yung mga small companies in the middle. So that's what really interested me into that fund. Right now, I'm planning to do it every month via Seedbox because I have an account there. And now the one that I'm still learning, so I haven't really invested on, is the new Philippine Sustainable Development and Growth Fund, which is very interesting because I was looking for a Philippine fund na hindi lang index, right? Really looking into sustainable practices. So I'm very happy that we now have like an ESG focused fund in the Philippines na. So those two funds are the ones that I'm focusing on for my ATRAM portfolio.
Right. Okay. Now that you mentioned that, because we have a lot of viewers currently watching us right now who are just starting to invest. For those who are just starting, ano ba yung mga funds na marirecommend mo sa kanila to start with? Like if like what you said, you were conservative from the beginning. Ano ba yung mga dapat nilang tignan and dapat aralin? I'm sure you've done your research about it.
Yeah. I think for the new investors, right? My ultimate goal, regardless of what fund yung pipiliin nyo at the start, I think what will be very interesting is if you try it out. The barrier for entry is very, very low, right? Even in G-Invest, for example, you can start with 50 pesos. Just try it out. Whatever fund. The risk anyway is very limited to the amount that you put in. And I think the interesting and the important part when you start is you now have a sense kung how UITFs work, right? And I see, for example, in groups, sometimes nalilito sila because when every time the prices go up and down, they don't even know what that means, right? Sometimes natakot sila when it goes down, but even if that's only paper loss. So I think for newbies, if you're really new into the investing game, try it out. That's my number one suggestion. And I think if you were to choose a fund, go for the funds that reflect your risk appetite first, right? So if you're a bit scared or if you're a bit conservative, try the money market fund or even the bond funds so that you also don't subject yourself to very big fluctuations. Baka matakot ka and ayaw mo na mag-invest.
That's true. That's true.
But if you are a bit aggressive or you just really want to know the exciting things of the roller coaster ride of the stock market, then try your the global consumer trends or the technology feeder fund because that will expose you to those opportunities earlier on. But I think the biggest one that I would say, if you're new, try it out in limited quantities. And I'm very sure once you understand kung paano siya nag-work, you will have a better appreciation of what can happen longer term and as you build the fund.
All right. So Philip, maiba ako, no? So this segment is really about investor stories. So I want to know more about you. You mentioned kasi na fresh out of college nag-invest ka na. And to me that's very surprising for syempre our generation na usually fresh out of college gusto mo
YOLO.
Gastos ka lang ng gastos, no? So what motivated you to start investing at such a young age? Fresh out of college, kakasweldo mo pa lang, dapat kasama mo barkada mo, but now you're saying na nagtitira ka na talaga for investment. Take us through that, Philip.
I think two very big influences came to me when I was about to graduate in college na I'm very thankful that happened to me earlier on. And that's part and parcel why I have my YouTube channel because I want to be that person for young folks. And very inspiring yung story so far. So I think those two. Number one is I really understood that wealth or wealth building requires time. And I saw the charts na like several in the US, for example, the typical millionaire will really get to their $1 million through long-term investing. And so I understood right away na regardless of how small I could have afforded when I was maybe 20 years old or 21 years old, it actually mattered in the end because originally akala ko parang wala namang silbi tong 2,000 per month kasi parang ang tagal-tagal niyang lumago. And now I'm actually seeing the benefits of that because I've been doing that very consistently for the past decade. So I think that one is very, very opening for me when I knew na millionaires pala don't have to be businessmen or inventors a la Steve Jobs.
Right.
The average person can actually be a millionaire through consistent investing. So that was very, very inspiring for me. The second one was I was very clear on my goals of retiring early. I didn't even know.
So yan ang ultimate goal natin,
Yes,
Philip.
correct. So I really knew na I wanted to retire early, much earlier than the 60-year-old na typical retirement. So I
want to enjoy your
yes.
older age.
Correct.
Okay,
so I knew
sige,
that.
ito
I didn't know kung paano yon gawin before. So I started very early. And then as time went by, I learned more. And it even inspired me to put in more into the fund para over time, lumago siya ng lumago. And the financial independence goal can be a reality.
Right. Very, very inspiring, no? So in line with that naman, Philip, what is the best advice you could give all our listeners? But maybe not from you, but maybe from someone who talked you into investing. What is the best advice you can give them?
I think other than start early, I think it's like the best advice I got. Other than that, I think it's really understand what you're getting yourself into, because a lot of us don't put money into the funds na aggressive because the aggressive term nakakatakot siya to begin with, and we hear all of these horror stories about the stock market crashing and everything.
That's true.
But I understand na pag nalaman mo na how it's being done, that there are fund managers who have day jobs to safeguard our investments and all of these things, I think you feel more comfortable, and you also don't lose on the upside opportunity. So for example, like the tech funds can go up or down, but I think with the right strategy in investing, you can really reap the gains, right? Last year, we saw almost 100% growth. So if you were too scared to put money in because aggressive siya, I think you can really get there by learning and reading and finding resources online or even in the government websites or in ATRAM's website also.
Doing your research really is very important. No? So I guess, Philip, that's my last question. Do you have any last words to our listeners right now, new or like already a veteran in investing? Anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, I think just as a wrap up, I think now our generation, we're very fortunate to have resources literally at our fingertips. Like just Google something, you have a millions of search results, right? Which I think were not available to maybe our parents before, and that's why financial literacy almost always never comes from home, because all of these things weren't available when it was our parents' time pa. So if you don't know, just search, learn, and I think as you learn, you will be able to really unlock opportunities, because once you have that knowledge is really power when applied properly and responsibly. So I think I leave you with that. There are a lot of content na hanapin nyo lang online or even in websites, and you'll be good to go.
Very well said, Philip. Thank you for your time. Stay safe, Philip. And
thanks, Kevin. You too.
See you around.
ATRAM has a wide range of investment products, and our capabilities span across several asset classes, meant to service the different investment objectives of each individual. So for today's session, we hope to have somehow assisted you in your investment journey. At this point, we would like to welcome once again Bryce Jalsita as we move on to the live questions from our audience. Bryce, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Kevin.
Welcome, Bryce. So, I see we have several questions coming in, no? Let's start with the first one. I guess galing to sa mag-i-invest pa lang, new investor. This one's for you, Bryce. Can you explain what is Seedbox and how do I open an account with ATRAM?
Okay, so Seedbox is an online investment platform. So you can invest in both UITFs and mutual funds. So to sign up, all you have to do is go to our website at seedbox.ph and then press the sign up button. Once you press the sign up button, fill in all your personal information. It's pretty standard. Just don't forget to include make sure you have a ID and signature. You upload that and then you're good to go. Then we'll verify your account through a video call that we will schedule. There is a bit of a delay because we do have a high volume at this time, but rest assured we are working very hard to increase the capacity so that we can get to you as soon as we can. And then the minimum investment amount is very small. It's only 1,000 pesos, and the top up is only 500 pesos. So it's very affordable for everyone, even low income earners, all the way to very high wealthy individuals. So it's open to everyone. So we really want to make investing as accessible to all Filipinos. And if you ever have any questions on the platform, we have a chat box there. You can leave a question there and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Or you can go straight to our support email, support@seedbox.ph. That's all.
Thank you, Bryce. To add to that, you may also visit our website. That's www.atram.com.ph to know more about the funds that we offer. But if you have more questions, visit the website's frequently asked questions page or the ATRAM Academy page as well. So, Bryce, let's go to the second question. No? Again, from our audience, can I receive funds anytime?
Yes. So when you invest and then should you want to redeem for any purpose whatsoever, you can. So all you have to do is press the redemption button, and then we will process it. Of course, there's some time there, and then we'll deposit it directly to the bank account that you will provide when you sign up. So you don't have to go manually pick it up. We will deposit it directly to your bank account.
Correct. Thank you, Bryce. Bryce, this one's for you again. Pero na-mention mo na to earlier. I just wanted to I just wanted to ask it again, no, for the benefit of our audience. What's the minimum initial investment by in Seedbox, Bryce?
Okay, so it's 1,000 pesos, and then to top up is 500. And we just want to say that you're not required to invest regularly or monthly, but we do recommend it so that you build that habit of investing and saving for yours and your family's future. Similar to our guests who started their investment journey, and as we've learned, the secret to their success was really setting aside their part of their income to invest regularly.
Okay, I think this one naman I can answer myself. The question from the audience is, what is the return of investment? Okay, for everyone's benefit, remember guys, these are funds, they are not deposit products. So this means it's not insured by the PBIC, and earnings as well as the principal, of course, are exposed to potential gain or loss. Additionally, returns of investment funds are not guaranteed, and prices fluctuate from day to day according to the market value of the securities in the portfolio. Also, different economic factors, of course, affect financial markets, and how they react is reflected in the prices of securities. So, okay, another question for our audience. Ako na lang din sasagot ito, no, Bryce. What is the best investment for a low minimum earner? Right. So, I guess the best investment will still really depend on your investment goals and risk appetite. What's best for one person won't necessarily be the best for another. But to help you out, invest in what you know and understand. I'm sure you'd agree with that, Bryce. And if you're a minimum wage earner, investing regularly can help you reach your goal better. And since the cost will average, it also lessens the risk of prices moving up. Right? So this one naman, for Bryce, again, para sa'yo naman to. If I place an order today, will it reflect on my Seedbox account right away? If not, ilang araw ba to after?
Okay, so when you invest in seed box, so when you make an order, depending if you reach the cutoffs of the day's cutoff, so mutual funds and non-feeder UITFs would usually be 1 to 2 working days, and then feeder funds would be usually 2 to 3 working days.
Right.
Yeah, we'd like to
Thank you.
note the working days because some people they say, oh, 2 days na, and then they invest during the
Working days.
weekend.
Okay, so no weekends. 2 to 3
No
working
weekends, yeah.
days.
Working
Okay.
days.
Just to be clear to our audience. I guess the next question, medyo, it's an investment question from our audience. I'll answer this one. What would you recommend na pag-investan sa ATRAM Funds para dun sa mga taong low-risk appetite? I guess to answer that, I would recommend ATRAM Money Market Fund, which is available in both G-Invest and Seedbox. Why? It's invested in time deposits and short-term debt instruments. So, I'll go back to you, Bryce, no? Very interesting question kasi there's a lot of chatter about G-Invest. Ano ba yung difference between Gcash, G-Invest, and Seedbox, no? Very interesting question.
Okay, all right. So G Invest is basically the partner. Basically we're partners with them, Seedbox and Atram. So they are the difference is basically we have funds available on Gcash for Gcash users, and on Seedbox on the other hand, we have some funds that are not available on Gcash at this time. So we have primarily UITFs, selected UITFs on G-Invest, and then on the Seedbox platform, we have both UITFs and mutual funds. So depending on what you want to invest in, we suggest you take a look on both platforms and see that you can decide which one which one will best suit you. Because at the end of the day, it's really you're investing in the same fund manager, so it's the same in that respect. But I guess it will also depend on your personal preference and personal lifestyle. If you're an avid user of Gcash and you do a lot of transactions on Gcash and the funds that you want to invest in are on that platform, then by all means use G-Invest. But if, say, for example, you want to invest in funds or, for example, a mutual fund or one of our UITFs and feeder funds that are not available on Gcash, then we suggest you use the Seedbox platform.
Right. Guys, follow-up question lang to that, no? Another question from our audience. But you tackled this na naman previously. Want you to reiterate lang, what are the advantages of if you have a Seedbox account rather than relying only through G-Invest?
Yeah. So Right now, the primary difference is that for G Invest, not all our funds are on G Invest. So we only have a selected number. So if you do want to invest in funds outside it, and even in mutual funds, you have to sign up on the Seedbox platform at this time.
All right. Thank you for that, Bryce. The next question naman is a question for our investors that we featured kanina. No? The question is, what funds did you start investing in? I'll answer this na lang based on what we saw from the investor stories. So based on what our investors mentioned, they started investing in the ATRAM Money Market Fund. And then when they had excess funds, they invested in the ATRAM Global Technology Feeder Fund. So if you want to know more, you have to visit our website for all the details, right? Okay, next question. Again, this one I can also answer. What's the best long-term or short-term for investment? For long-term investments, I guess you would want to be investing in equities. We put in G Invest three good options, but what is best is for you to figure out for yourself, as we've been mentioning earlier. The Philippine Equity Smart Index, if you believe in the recovery of the Philippines. The global technology, if you believe in the advancement of technologies like cloud computing, machine learning, and manufacturing robotics. The global consumer trends naman, if you want to earn on what you're spending on, to name a few. And for short-term investments, you can go for the peso money market fund. Right. I guess a couple of questions pa. We're down to the last two. This one's for you, Bryce. Between Gcash platform or directly in Seedbox, to access the ATRAM funds, is it okay to invest in global technology feeder fund through Gcash platform, or is it more advantageous to go directly to Seedbox to access the global technology feeder fund? That's very good.
Both. So it's actually again, it's more of your preference. So if you're an avid Gcash investor or Gcash user, then and it's already there, then by all means you can invest there. But if you want to be open to more funds, you can also sign up on Seedbox. So it really depends. You can start off on Gcash, try it out, and then if you see some funds that are not available on Gcash later on in your investment journey, you can sign up on Seedbox so that you have more options to choose from. So it's what we suggest really is to take a look at the funds on seedbox.ph, take a look at the mutual funds and UITF so that you have a view on which ones you want to invest in the future and what you want to invest in now. If you want to try it out for as low as 50 pesos, you can invest in G Invest.
All right, thank you, Bryce. I think we're down to our last question. Bryce, this one's for you, no? Is there any non-taxable retirement account available, just like the IRA or Roth account in the US?
Yes, so right now, I think there'll be an ATRAM webinar coming up for this. We do have a Filipino version of this, which is called PERA. It's Personal Equity Retirement Account. It's, I think, the closest version you have to an IRA account in the US. So it does have tax benefits and tax breaks when you invest in. So you get to know more about it. You can go to pera.seedbox.ph and then take a look there. We also have a chat box there. So if ever you have questions and you want to learn more, you can talk to our guys there.
Okay, thank you, Bryce. Once again, we would like to thank Rose, Mark, JC, Philip, and of course you, Bryce, for that very inspiring and informative conversation. And of course, thank you to our audience. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today. So please stay tuned to find out if you are a winner in today's raffle. Thank you, Bryce.
Thank you, Kevin.
In case you have not registered yet for our webinar next week, Mr. Jose Marie Lacson, ATRAM's Head of Macro and Sustainability Research, is set to share his insights and delve in an in-depth discussion of the market performance in our second quarter 2021 Economic Outlook webinar. You may do so by scanning the QR code flashed on the screen. You may also type in the link found on the left side of your screen. Again, if you have any friends who you think would like this webinar but are unable to attend, feel free to share the YouTube replay of this session. Visit our YouTube channel, ATRAM Studios. We would also like to invite you to join ATRAM's new official Viber group. That's hashtag ATRAMPH Community to stay updated on the latest announcements, advisories, and reminders. Scan the QR code here or visit this link bit.do/AtramPH and get a chance to win Atram merchandise. Lastly, please answer the survey at the end of this webinar. We would love to know your thoughts on today's topic. So on behalf of everyone at Atram, thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the webinar interesting, and we wish you and your loved ones continued health and safety. Have a great day.